Hey guys, Scrubman here doing his first video on ESO. Today's video is going to be on is ESO or Elder Scrolls Online worth playing in 2023. So I'm just going to go over the basic stuff, pros and cons. I'm not going to get into anything too deep. Not going to go around and do a bunch of stuff and show you guys a lot of the game. Right now I'm going to be focusing on class, races, leveling up, just some of the stuff that you guys can do, what it offers, and some of the cons as well, so you guys can really see if this game is worth playing if you are either new to games like this, these RPG type games, or if you're somebody who's on PlayStation, Xbox, and doesn't have access to playing things like World of Warcraft, EverQuest, things like that, and this may be one of the choices. So here you got a few of my characters, but I'm going to show you guys some of the new character stuff. So the character customization in Elder Scrolls is pretty straightforward. Male, female. The alliances, if you've ever played Skyrim, are also here. You have your Dominion, the Pact, and the Covenant. Each have their set of races in them. The alliance that you choose obviously will determine what races are available when you're picking, but the alliance itself does not play much of a role in the game unless you are doing PvP. That's when it starts to come into play a lot more, because that determines whose side you're on, and who you can play with as well. I don't do PvP. I've never been very good at it. It's actually horrifying, probably even comical to watch, so I don't do it. I prefer to play either with some friends or by myself doing a lot of the main game stuff, but it does offer PvP, and it is pretty cool. It's almost like an entire war zone. You just go around destroying stuff and trying killing people. So the races, Elder Scrolls offers, I would say, a decent amount of races. You got your High Elf, your Wood Elf, your Khajiit, which is the cat-like creatures, Imperial. You have to pay or upgrade to get this. I don't ever mess with that. I think it's some sort of human. So then, yeah, and the Pact, you got your Dark Elf, your Nord, and the Argonian races. See some of the males here. In the Covenant, you got your Red Guard, the Orc, and your Breton. So it's probably what, 9-10 races if you got the Imperial opening, so it's not too bad. Classes is where they fall a little short, in my opinion. You have your Dragon Knight, which is like a fire knight. They do a lot of fire and throwing like rocks and stuff at people. Your Sorcerer, they can do dark magic, bolts of lightning, do like storm calling, I think is what it's called. Your Night Blades, which are your assassins, do a lot of shadow attacks, siphoning health, stabbing, poking, all that other great stuff with knives and daggers, swords, and whatnot. Necromancer and Warden, these were introduced into ESO probably a few expansions ago. They got a lot of mixed feelings. I actually enjoyed it. Before this, it was just these 4 classes, and that annoyed the crap out of me. The Warden is a nature, like ranger type class, calling animals, using nature type attacks and stuff like that. My healer is a Warden, and I love it. I think it is a really cool class, especially for a healer. I think they also do ice and frost attacks as well. Your Necromancer class is pretty cool. The only bad thing about it is a lot of the abilities, if you use them around people, it's a criminal act. If you guys are playing Skyrim, certain things that you do are considered crimes, and you'll get a bounty, and the guards and stuff will chase you and kill you. So for those of you that play Skyrim, that's not anything new. So when you play this class, you gotta be careful what spells and stuff you cast while you're in the towns and stuff. The citizens also can report you. The Templar, it's like a holy knight, light and burning sun, also some fire as well. I think one of the few cons. I mean, I know this is minor, and for a lot of people, this wouldn't really play a lot of role in whether or not you like the game or not. I really wish they had more classes and races. I grew up playing EverQuest. A lot of people don't even know what that is before World of Warcraft, but they had like 20-something races and 20-something classes. So there was a lot you could pick from. I understand with a game like this being offered on console and PC, they got to make it to where it's able to be done on both systems. If they put so much stuff into it, it probably wouldn't work very well on the consoles. I don't know. I actually hope that they release more classes. A lot of people disagree with that. Because there are things in the game that they need to work on. I will agree with that as well. But I think when you're making characters and you have one of every character, now you want to make another one for whatever reason, and you played all the classes, you want something new. I don't know. So customization, you got your thin, large, muscular. The customization is pretty straightforward. It gives you a lot of ways to really customize them. You can even add some initial body markings, tattoos and stuff. You cannot change the tattoo colors, so whatever they show up as is what you get. The face shape initially, and then you can go in and make your adjustments. It's pretty straightforward. It gives you a good variety. It's not super fancy, not super in depth. Pretty easy to use. The voices are pretty good. There are a few for some of the classes I think, or some of the races that I think sound exactly the same, but I'm also deaf. So, I mean, take it or leave it, I guess. It's not too bad. So that's the character customizations, the races, and the classes. So we'll go ahead and get into one of my characters. This is my Nightblade, Valtorn. Sorry guys, I don't do those names with the best player ever 67 or any crap like that. I actually tried to give my characters some sort of real name, fantasy sounding name. That's how my mom used to play ESO, so or EverQuest. So that's what she did. So that's what I learned to do. All right, so in the game, here you go. I'm in one of the Gold Coasts, one of the expansion zones right now. It is a pretty game, especially if you're playing on the new consoles or a nice PC. It does look nice. I will give it that. That was one thing I was really impressed with when I got into this game, is it doesn't look like crap. It doesn't look cartoony. A lot of it looks pretty real. For a game like this that's huge and on console. So let's look at the map. This is the world. There are even sub-worlds right here. You could also visit these as well. And they are big, guys. Lots to do. Every zone has its own quest, which is that first icon under map completion. The 2 out of 8 on this one is the zone quest. They have little fast travel locations you can pay gold to go to, or if you're actually at those, they're called way shrines, you can travel to another way shrine for free if you do it from there. Yeah, so there's a lot to do, and they are very good at bringing out expansions quite frequently. The only downfall is you have to buy each one, so that kind of sucks. They have a lot of these spots that don't have anything, so I'm not sure if that means those will eventually become a place or not. Not really sure. But guys, if you've played games like this before, you understand what the dungeons and stuff are. For those of you that haven't, dungeons are big quest, like challenges you can go through. There usually be a quest associated with it, and there'll be all these bosses and all these enemies, and they're all super freaking hard, and you need basically a giant group of like 16, 20 of you to beat it. Those are dungeons. They also have these trials, which, let's see, right here. Their trials are basically dungeons on steroids. When I first started playing this, went into one of those by accident and died within 15 seconds. Yeah, they are insanely crazy. My old guild and I did a few of those, and there were a few where I was dying constantly. You need a lot of healers, a lot of tanks, a lot of DPSs. It's a mess. The game lags a lot. Yeah. Then they have Delves. Delves was something that was a little new for me. It's basically a mini dungeon that can be completed just by yourself, or even with like a friend or whatnot, and it's just simple, fun, kind of gives you that dungeon feeling, but allows you to do something that doesn't require a lot of people if you don't like playing with other people. They do have world bosses. Again, another thing that needs to be done, usually with a group of people. There have been a few world bosses I've killed just by myself, or myself with a friend. I am not someone who spends all day playing this game, so they have been few for me. But if you're someone who really has a lot of time to put into this game and the builds, then by all means you may figure it out. I'm a firefighter guy, so I do not get a lot of time to really sit here and play these games all the time, so I do my best. It's actually taken me quite a bit to get this video in. Things that you can do. Guys, there's a lot to do in this video, or in this game. There really is. From the dungeons to the delves to the quest lines, I haven't even finished half of this stuff with this character, and this is my highest character ever. Especially when they keep adding stuff, there's always going to be something to do. You won't get bored. I will say the only time I've really gotten bored is sometimes it's nice just to play with somebody. It helps, but there is plenty to do. I will say I was really impressed with that when I first got in here, just how much they were able to put into this. You can have pets, you can have mounts, and they're not super hard to get. They're not like, I know in EverQuest you got to have all this money in order to get them. No, and of course there's the in-game currency you can buy and also get mounts and cooler mounts and pets quicker. The crafting, that's one thing I do want to kind of touch a little bit on. I know with World of Warcraft, when I got into the crafting and I tried to play that a little bit, you can only have like 2, per character. One thing I love about ESO is you can have all of the crafting with every character if you so choose. No matter the race, no matter the class, you can choose to be a master crafter in every single one that's available, which is right here. You have your alchemy, your blacksmithing, clothing, chanting, jewelry, crafting, provisioning, and woodworking. My character right here, he is my crafter character. He is a master crafter in everything but jewelry crafting. That was introduced in the Somerset expansion. It was a while ago, maybe a year or 2 ago. I don't use it as much, but I do a lot of crafting for my friends, for my other characters. So, I mean, but it's nice to know that any of the characters that you make, no matter their class or race, can go into all of those, and there's no restrictions. You don't have to be this level or this race or whatever. No, it does not matter. That I really loved. Also, if you are a subscribed player, which we'll get into that in a minute, and you choose to do crafting, you will get access to what's called a crafting bag, where instead of your crafting materials that you'll gather in the world taking up space in your inventory, they will go immediately into your crafting bag. Your crafting bag is unlimited. It never maxes out, and it will hold all of your crafting stuff for all of these, and it is shared between all your characters. So if one of my other characters, I don't use a lot of them for crafting, but if they wanted to craft something for some reason, I could go in and use the exact same stuff, even if Faltorn here gathered all of it. Like, it's really nice. Also is shared between characters. If I made something with him for another character and put it in the bank, I'd log out, go into that character, go to the bank, and pull it out. It's pretty nice. The leveling system next thing I'll talk about. Level up 1 through 60. I believe is what it is. Once you get up to the max level, you will go into what's called champion level. So if you're looking down at the bottom of my screen, you'll see champion level 427. The max now is 3,000. Want to say 200. It stops giving you points, I think, at 1800. But your gear goes until champion level 160 is the highest gear level. I'm sorry, the max level character is 50. So at 50, you enter the champion levels. So what happens at that point is instead of getting skill points, you will get what's called champion points. And what happens is each time you level up, first I think it starts off in red. You'll level up, get a red point, and then the next bar is going to be blue, like it is for me. When it fills up, you get a blue point, and then it moves on to the green. Level up, you get a green point, and then it goes back to red. In here, you can spend them into these categories to get boost and perks for your character. In this case, this is your warfare section. So it's damage, either spell damage, weapon damage, increased magicka, all the things to help you fight. This is your getting gold, your crafting, fishing, cost of repairing your armor, the cost of using those way shrines, different stuff like that, selling stolen items and whatnot. And then this is your defense, your health, your armor, you're gaining health or magicka or stamina back for killing enemies, etc., etc. Your bash and your blocking, how much damage it actually protects you from, how much energy does it consume. All your defense stuff is in here. So it goes up to, I'm sorry, the dog's being crazy. The max is 3,600. You will stop getting points at 1,800, if I remember correctly. I guess that's to make sure that nobody becomes like insanely too powerful, I guess. It used to not be that high. I came in one day and found out that all my points had been reset. It was because they changed the entire champion point system. It used to be the max was 840, and crafting was actually thief, fitness was warrior, and warfare was mage. They completely redid all this. They even got rid of some things, so I went in to spend some of my points on what I thought would still be there, a perk, and they had gotten rid of that perk and replaced it with something else, or just got rid of it entirely. That was really frustrating. They have not made any changes since. I don't think they will. But it allows you to keep working towards something and also keep building your character up once you get past level 50. And until that point, you will get skill points to spend on your abilities, class abilities, weapon abilities, and whatnot. That's another thing, guys, I want to touch base on when it comes to character customization. No matter what your class is, no matter what your race is, you can use whatever weapon you want, which is kind of cool. I've seen people who are spellcasters, sorcerers, or whatever, with a bow and arrow. I have a necromancer who has an axe and he has a staff. Eventually, you get to a high enough level where you can swap weapons and then assign abilities depending on what weapon you're holding. So the primary abilities you see up there, if I swap my weapon to my bow, those are my bow abilities. So, it's kind of cool that they don't really give you a lot of restrictions as far as how you decide you want to build your character. So, I mean, I've seen assassins, like the Nightblades, that have ice staffs or fire staffs. I mean, it really is up to you. And you can enchant them with like poisons, or have a fire staff that's enchanted with a shock, and so it does like shock damage. I mean, so there's different ways and combos to make with your character. Obviously, the armor. The armor does play a role in how your character goes, but I have seen people even mix that up and do a spellcaster with heavy armor for some reason. I don't get into all the builds. I know people really get into that stuff, especially when they're doing dungeons and stuff. I get into games like this, but not that much. So what do you do? What do you do when you get to level 50 and you don't have any more skill points to spend, and you have all this stuff to spend on? Because your skill points, guys, you will spend on crafting skills, your class skills for your spells or abilities, everything. So how do you get more? Well, in Elder Scrolls, they have what's called sky shards, which are that little diamond-shaped thing you guys will see on the map over there right underneath the skull. For every 3 of those you get a skill point. And there is a lot of them. And you get one after completing a dungeon for the first time. You will get one, and they are in every single delve. There's a lot of them, guys, and I think even some of the zone quests give some skill points as well. So there's plenty of ways to keep getting more even after level 50. There are pets. You can buy houses. You can buy mounts. They've introduced companions now, which is that girl that's following me around. They will fight for you and everything. There's 4 of them now. With the new expansion, you complete a quest and they will follow you around and help you fight and all this other good stuff. Whereas the little non-combat pets you see right here, like my little wolf, they do not fight, they just follow you around, of course. Lots to do. They did start doing endeavors now, which are like little tasks you can do. You can do 3 dailies and 1 weekly, and you get those little currencies, and then you can spend them. It does take a long freaking time to get anything remotely good. As you can see, 16,000 and I'm at 1,590. It really sucks to get stuff quickly. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff you're gonna miss out on because it just takes so long to get stuff. I have actually wondered how many people have actually gotten this stuff. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It just takes a long time. So, one thing I do want to get into as far as a con for Elder Scrolls, guys, is it is super expensive. Elder Scrolls, yeah, it's expensive. So the subscription. The yearly subscription for Elder Scrolls is $140. So you need that in addition to the PlayStation Plus. So you're looking at what? Almost $200 to play this game if you want to be a subscribed player. They make it very hard to enjoy this game to its fullest potential if you are not a subscribed player. If you're not a subscribed player, you do not get that crafting bag. You do not have access to a lot of the expansion zones. You will have access to the basic game. You will not be allowed to go to those places. Now, I do think if you are in a party with somebody who does have access to that expansion, you can go. But do not quote me on that. I have not tried that in a long time. If you are a subscribed player, you will have to buy them individually with in-game currency, which is also not cheap. I think 5,500 crowns, which is the in-game currency, is about $40-something. So, yeah, it gets expensive. Here's the expansion quest, the DLCs. Yeah, they're expensive, you know. The memberships are expensive. So craft bag, you get extra storage in your bank, you get increased experience, crafting inspiration, which is what helps you level up your crafting quicker. You can dye costumes at any of the outfit stations around the world. And every time you get crowns, every time you renew your membership at the end of its deadline, they give you a monthly allowance of crowns every time, or let's say, okay, so let's say you have a monthly, which I think is 15 bucks a month, guys. When it renews, you get, I think, 2,000 something crowns. So you don't necessarily have to buy them, you can let them build up. If it's a year, the yearly membership gets a lot, but you got to think, then you got to wait for another year until you get more. So they kind of do give you back, give back for it, for the money you pay, and then you get the expansions. Some of them, there are some expansions, I'm not really sure how to tell the difference, but some that you do actually have to go into the PlayStation Store and actually buy, like for a full game price. It's like 60 bucks. I believe Elder Scrolls itself is $20 in the PlayStation Store. I'm a PlayStation player, so that's what it is for me. Now, let's get into a little bit of the combat. If you've played Elder Scrolls before, you already know this. But for those of you that have not played it before, it is pretty self-explanatory. So this guy right here, there is no like leveling system as far as the enemies, just difficulty. So you see the red bar, that's his health. So I engage him, right? You'll notice that spike at the end of his health bar. The more elaborate that is, the more fancy it is, the harder the enemies are. So when you go into your dungeons, you're going to notice that they have really fancy health bars. That's because they are extremely hard to kill. If you go to the guards, let's see if I can find one. One of the guards, their health bars are got the full 3 spike, 3 little diamonds and then the spike. That means they are like hard as crap. But the inside of their health bar is not red, it's gold. You cannot kill the guards, they are invincible, you can only run away. For those of you that have never played Skyrim or Elder Scrolls, you can commit crimes in this game. You can murder people, you can steal stuff and go sell it in the underworld and stuff like that. So that's when the guards will chase you. You get a bounty and stuff. But you see how his health bar is very elaborate on the ends? That's how you know how difficult the enemies are. So if you go up here, I know there's some lions up here. Like the wolf, he doesn't have any sort of health bar, so he's just a normal, easy to kill enemy. You could kill him very easily. And combat's pretty easy. There's some blocking you can do, and some oh crap. You can do rolling. For the life of me, I can't remember how to do it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so you can do that, but it uses stamina. So when I was fighting, you'll see the red and blue and green bars. So your green is your stamina, your blue is your magicka, and your red is your health. When you do your class abilities, they will be either a stamina use ability or magicka use ability. So that will kind of give you a guide as to when you're doing your enchantments or building your guy, which of those to maximize. Or you may have skills that are a mixture of stamina and magic using abilities. So then you need to worry about making sure you have enough stamina and magicka to use those abilities. And then of course your health is pretty self-explanatory. So that's pretty much it, guys. Those are the basics. Like I said, the cons, I wish they'd had more races and classes to choose from. But if you are somebody who is new to games like this, there is plenty to do. Like I said, I've had him for a while. He's my highest level character, not even halfway maxed out now. And I still haven't gotten completely halfway through these zone stories and everything that they have to offer in this game. And they're constantly adding stuff to it, so I doubt I'll ever catch up. I'm doomed. The biggest con about Elder Scrolls is it is super expensive. Really expensive, and I think that does kill it a lot for me. If I had one thing I could tell them to change, it would be to lower the price a little bit, especially if you're someone who plays other games. So that's about it, guys. I will be doing videos and guides on Elder Scrolls for people who might want to play this game. I know for me it helps a lot to have guides and stuff with games like this. That will be the primary use of this channel, but I will be doing gameplay and whatnot for other games like Assassin's Creed. I got the new Dead Space pre-ordered, so I will be doing a video on that. If there is another game you guys would like to see on this channel, please let me know in the comments, and please do not forget to like and subscribe and help me grow up a little bit. I really appreciate your guys' time watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to keep scrubbing.